Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to discuss something known as the delta finish. This is something that we've never discussed before, and it is a concept of order flow that we're going to learn today. So before we begin, what I have on the charts, the order flow indicator, this is Ninja Trader, and the indicator that I have on is from Gomicators. So if you want to have or understand this indicator better or want to try and use it, you can go into the link and try it out for yourself. So it has a lot of features and a lot of tools as far as order flow is concerned. So we'll go one by one over a series of some videos. The first one starts from today. So we'll start with what delta finish is. Okay, and now before I move ahead, let me first explain what I have on the chart. So this, if you can see quite clearly over here, this is a P chart. So I have a C and a P as well, along with Bank Nifty over here. And this is a Bank Nifty futures 5-minute chart. So remember, this is futures. You have volume being plotted over here in the form of volume profile. So this is a futures chart. For people who are new and do not understand volume profile, you can go ahead and watch my previous videos. Nevertheless, there's no concept of volume profile as such that we're going to use today, but we just have the chart on so that to understand it in conjunction with the PE chart that we have here. Now some of you guys also asked me that why do I use the PE chart, or why do I use the options chart, and why not the Bank Nifty? I can certainly use Bank Nifty futures as well. The problem, or it's not a problem, but what happens is we generally, most of us, trade on the options chart, and most of the times the prices over here, what I have observed are obviously they're moving in tandem with the futures, but the let's say sometimes there is a TK, but when the price is moving in momentum, it will move more than what we expect as far as the movement with futures is concerned, and so on. And other than that, you will see some spikes happening which may not occur on the futures chart. So what it does is it gives us an insight of what actually has happened within the bar, okay, in an options bar. And more than that, what I generally suggest everybody is that you should always look at the charts of the instrument you're trading. For example, because most of us are trading options chart, it makes more sense to look into the order flow footprint of the options chart. What will happen is we use order flow for precise entries, for good stop losses. It gives us very good entries, precise entries, and makes us understand why we are doing what we are as far as order flows is concerned. Now this is a PE chart. So what it will do is it will move in the opposite direction to a Bank Nifty futures chart. So what do I mean by that? If the Bank Nifty futures is going up, it is supposed to go down. So if you look, this is a 5-minute chart in the from 15:05 in the last half an hour, you see the move up. Similarly over here in the last half an hour, you've seen this move down. Okay, so the PE moves in opposite direction to the futures chart, and what you want to essentially do is, for example, somewhere here, if you see closely on an order flow chart, you see some sort of selling come in. I will just explain this chart. Similarly, it is gone, and an options chart, you can see it is taking support from a imbalance zone, which again we've spoken in the previous videos. If not, we'll go through it in a simple manner in this video as well. So it is nothing but when there is an imbalance between the buy and sell orders, and we look at it diagonally, and when the ratio, the settings that we have kept here is more than 300%, or you can call it multiplication factor of 3. So for example, over here you've seen 196 contracts into 3 would be somewhere close to 600, but it is 1200. That is why it has been plotted in blue. Okay, similarly this one, it compares with the one over here, that is 48. So the value should be closer to 150, the 3-time value, but it is 237, and so we have plotted it blue. And whenever we see 2 consecutive zones like these, okay, these are called stacked imbalances. What will happen is we'll plot something like this blue zone that is being plotted over here. Similarly, whenever the next one we see over here is this one, so that is why we have a stacked imbalance plotted over here. You don't blindly trade it, you have some context in mind, which we'll just discuss. The other thing that we have on the chart is, I'm explaining the footprint chart, then we'll go into the other stuff that we have on this particular order flow chart. Again, I'll reiterate the indicator that I'm using, the add-on in the Ninja Trader is Gomi indicator. This, you can see it over here. I leave the link in the description so you can go and check it out for yourself. The next thing that we have over here is on the chart that we have is let me go here. Okay, so what we have in these greens on both the sides being plotted like this. Okay, so the numbers are the same. Again, in this particular indicator, you can change what you want to be shown over here. You can plot COT high low, or you can plot and you can plot delta finish as well. We have done a video on COT high and low. If you still have confusion on that, we'll discuss it further using this particular indicator. Okay, so what I've done is I plotted it on both the sides. Okay, so that is why the numbers are here. So what this is 1364 negative delta. So this is what it is. What is being plotted here is delta finish. Again, this is a concept we'll just discuss, and then we'll run it through in a replay mode so that we understand how it looks like when the markets are moving. I did not do it in a live market mode because it becomes confusing when the market is already running. We'll do it in a live market mode once we have finished with understanding this in totality, and then we can implement or discuss some setups using this in live markets as well. Okay, the next thing that I have on my chart is if you see these bars on top. Okay, this is volume. Again, it is configurable. You can choose volume over here, and what I have here is the delta on the bottom. So these bars that you see on the top and bottom, the up one is volume, the lower one is delta. Okay, so in case you guys want a detailed video on how to set up these charts using Gomicator, you can just let me know. We'll do one in that aspect as well. Okay, now not lastly, two more things. Now one more thing that you see over here, this number 4 and this number 5, this is nothing but the number of imbalances. So I have 4 imbalances here, so I have plotted we can see them over here on the top. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So what it does is, in a particular bar, I know the number of imbalances that are there. You can also set this up according to volume. So for example, if you want to see volumes only above 200, the other thing that I've used is a volume divisor. So the actual volume would be somewhere close to 2000, but I've divided it by 10, so it is 200. So you can plot it like that. So you can have a threshold, minimum volume threshold, so that it doesn't plot zeros, but I have not kept any such thing. I just want to see the number of imbalances that are taking place. So we have these numbers here. On this left side, we have the sell number, which is being plotted in the red. On the right side, we have it being plotted in the blue, which is being depicted over here. That is the buy side imbalances. So if you count, you get these 3 over here, you get 1 here, and you get 1 here right at the POC. Okay, now because you can see it is a very the play that we are having here is so range bound because of the markets that we had this other day. Again, when you see the opening, these all imbalances also come into play a lot. So that is why I keep harping upon the fact that the context becomes important when you're seeing something like this, a range bound market. The idea or the trades that you should be looking for is trapped buyers, sellers on the top, and rather trapped buyers on the top and trapped sellers in the bottom is what you should be looking at. Okay, now the last thing, the profiles that you see that are being plotted, they are not buy and sell or bid or ask or market sell orders and market buy orders. These profiles, one in light blue over here and one in red and green over here. On the contrary, what we have on the left side in the blue is the volume, and on the right side that is being plotted, these profiles are delta. So you can see what I've done with the chart. I can see everything on the chart with just a little tinkering of the chart. So the numbers are the market buy and sell orders, the left side is the market sell orders, the right side is the market buy orders, whereas the profile is the volume on the left side and delta on the right side. Now, having explained everything on the chart, so which is very important before we move further and you can understand what is going on, like we discussed, this is a P chart. Now let's start with what is delta finish. Okay, so we've done a video a few days back, so I'm getting this chart. I'll just tell you why I'm getting this chart. I'll just explain this chart as well, the one on the right side, before we get into the setup with using delta finish. Okay, so The right side chart is nothing but a 25-second chart. It's just a random figure. You can use 30 seconds. So what it does is when I have 20 such bars, it plots a 5-minute bar volume profile over here. So in a sense, it is doing what this blue profile that you see on the left side is doing. But what it does is it gives us a very minute breakdown of what was happening inside the bar as far as volume profile is concerned. Okay, and what I have below, why I have used this chart is for if you see this lower chart, this is a cumulative delta chart. This is what I have I wanted to use this particular chart for, because this is what I'm going to use for explaining delta finish. And the other thing that I'm going to use is these delta bars at the bottom. Okay, so now let's get into the chart as such. So if you see basically what is delta finish, so if you see over here this particular bar, this delta bar, so what it is doing is these delta bars is, if you see the top over here, this is supposed to be the right hand side is supposed to be the high, the more extreme left is supposed to be the low, and wherever it opens, it's absolutely like a normal candlestick chart, just that it is inverted clockwise. So just remember it is inverted clockwise. So what it does is on the extreme right you see the high, on the extreme left you see the low, and the open and low as you see in a candlestick chart. So over here also, so what essentially this bar means is, we will explain it on this chart as well. So what this particular bar, delta bar, means is the bar the delta opened here, and then it made a high of some delta whatever it was, and then it went lower, but I'm sorry, the delta opened here. I'm very sorry for that. The delta opened here, it made a low, it then made a high, and then closed in green like this. Okay, now you will say, why is this delta negative over there? This is not delta, this is delta finish. This is what we're going to talk about, this is what we're going to use. Okay, so if we take this particular example of 1505, so if you see on this chart, I will just get this chart as well so that you can see it better. Okay, so let's go over here. So 1505 is somewhere here, if I am not wrong. So if you see the chart on the right lowermost bottom, you see over here, this is where the bar opened. It went a little lower from the open, you can see over here, and then finally it closed, the 5-minute bar closed on top somewhere here. Okay, so this is the 5-minute that we're talking about here. Okay, it made a high and then finally closed here. I'll just delete everything so you can see what has happened. This is the 5-minute in play that we're talking about, including this red bar over here. So it did close in the positive, but after it made a new high, you can see it's supposed to be a pin bar, the delta, max delta, this is the max delta. I'll just repeat that again, and the delta fell down. So I will just draw this bar again over here. So what has happened is the bar that we're talking about is this one. Okay, and this is closed in green, so let me do this. Okay, let me get a highlighter on. So I'm sorry for that. Let me make this again. So it closed like this. Okay, so this is the bar that has taken place over here. What we're seeing over here, this is the bar. Now when we see a bar like this, what has actually happened is that the max delta of the bar was somewhere here. Okay, so the max delta, of course, is the delta at this point. If it would have closed, let's say the bar would have closed like this. Okay, so what it means is that the bar has closed at its max delta. That is, whenever the delta was maximum, the bar is closed there. But if you have a bar like this, so the delta would be the value over here. But since it has closed in between, and if the bar closes in between, the max delta becomes this. So I know it is a little confusing, but we're trying and explaining this as simply as possible. And this is the close value. So this is the delta at the time of bar close. This is the opening delta, delta open you can call it. Okay, so you can name, because we're going to discuss this in the future series. The delta open is this, the delta close is this. Okay, it is equal to the delta at the close of the bar, and the delta low is this. So for this 5-minute bar, the delta low would have been here, that is somewhere here. Whenever it made a new low, the max delta would have been this. over here. Okay, the value, it is about 180,000, whatever. This is cumulative. You can plot it in another fashion. What we'll do is we'll do one, we'll go to the right indicators and we will plot it delta, and what we'll do is we null cumulative chart and apply it. So this, yes, this is much better. Okay, so this gives a very good idea of what is happening. So this is the time that we're talking about, 1500. So although we'll not be able to see the full 5 minutes, but this will let us know what we want to see. So the max delta of the bar is this. This is just a 25-second bar, so this is not equal to this bar. I've done this to explain it to you. So this is the max delta in any given bar. If you see this bar over here, okay, the low, delta low is this. The delta close open is of course 0, somewhere close to 0, and the delta close is also on the top. So in this case, max delta is equal to delta when the bar closes. Okay, now what would delta finish be? So the delta finish is from the time the bar makes a new high or a low, not the bar, I'm sorry, the delta. So let's assume, let's go back to the same old mode that we had. Okay, and let's go here and let's make it cumulative chart. Okay, so now let's go to the same bar that we were discussing, the 1505 bar, that is from here somewhere. Okay, now the delta finish would be the time it makes a new high or a low. So if delta is equal to max delta, that is at this time when the last time the bar or the delta made a high, after that it did not make a new low. Okay, so the concept is somewhat similar to COT high and low. So from this point, from the highest delta point to the time the bar closes, this area is delta finish, the delta between these 2 points. So I will just say, so if you're considering a delta of a bar, let's consider the delta of this bar. So what has happened, it has opened somewhere here, gone down, then gone up, and then closed here. So the delta finish is this, the delta between the max delta whenever it happened. Okay, let's call it A point, and this is B point, and the close. So this is delta close, you can call it delta close. Okay, this point of course is max delta that you see on a lot of charts, on a lot of statistics that we can put on here also. This point is min delta. Okay, so in this bar, when the delta opened, the latest we saw was max delta. If you would have seen a min delta, the calculation would have been different. I'll just explain it again. So from the time it makes a new high or a low, so this is max delta, to the time it closes. So this is delta finish. Okay, now how and why do we use it? Okay, now we use it because I want to know from the time the bar made a new high or the delta made a new high, that would have been somewhere close to this point, how much selling or delta has come in. Okay, so what it means is from this point, from the time the bar made a max delta, if you look over here in the cumulative delta section on the right side, how much delta or selling has come in. If this selling, for example, it is a number that I'm seeing is larger than usual, I will go against this trend of the market going up. What do I mean by that? Whenever it was here and I start seeing this number going, let's say beyond 400, 300, I would try and enter a short, because I can understand there is some amount of selling that is coming in, and of course I should see the price also moving down. Okay, on the other hand, if I see these numbers increasing, okay, let's assume it has gone to 1000, 1200, but the bar price or the price has not been able to move below this, it still stays here. What will I do? I will enter a long, and I will expect a further breakout of this particular bar in the direction of the trade that has been happening. But looking at what was happening over here, we can see these numbers high. You can see a very high number here. Okay, on an up bar that went somewhere here, and then we saw some selling come in, and of course it has trapped all the buyers that have come in. If you look closely, at one point, since the delta is positive, the maximum delta is associated with somewhere here, and these values are a little smaller. Of course there are imbalance levels, and somewhere here. Okay, so you can see a chunk of them being located here. Okay, so all these guys have got trapped. They can be stop losses, whatever they are. So how do we use delta finish then? We use delta finish in the sense that if we see some sort of selling coming in from the max delta, okay, we can assume that there is a likely chance that the market will go down and the price is reacting in a similar fashion. Okay, I will just play a chart in some time so that we understand this is real time. Okay, similarly on the other side, if we see on the down bar, on a down bar, for example over here, that obviously if you look over here, it made a new low. Let's see what happens. So let's see a bar where we have seen 1450. This is the bar that we have to see. Okay, so over here we see that you can see over here 1450. So the bar opens, it makes a new high, so the delta makes a new high over here. Okay, 1450 somewhere here, but by the time it closes, it makes a new low. So the delta finish would be, so what this bar has done is 50 bar. You can see it starts, it makes a new high from the open. Okay, and then it goes and closes somewhere here. So the delta low was somewhere here, and the min delta in this case was somewhere associated over here, max delta here. So what was out of the max delta and the min delta, which did we see the last? The min delta. Okay, so that is why the delta from let's assume the delta bar closed here, so this would be delta finish, and in this case of course we'll have a positive value, but the positive value is not that big. Okay, again we'll see in the live charts, whereas if you see over here, look at the positive value. So it was good enough. So this was a good signal, considering that we had an imbalance zone over here. So this becomes a good signal. It is a sort of counterintuitive because you see that the delta is actually negative, but this value is positive. So I go with the value that I see here from the time it made a min delta, that some sort of buyers have started stepping in, and it is located at which point? At a point that I'm expecting a support of sorts to take place, and exactly something like that happens. It is more prevalent in this bar and lesser in this bar. Similarly, what we see over here is a lot of selling coming in from the time the bar hit a new new high in terms of delta. Now we'll just shift to the replay mode and see how it looks like in real time. Okay, so guys, what I have here is the same indicator, the Gomicator, but I've just changed the platform. Sorry for that. This is Sierra chart. Why I've done that is I was having a small issue with the replay mode over there. So what I've done is I've just shifted the chart into Sierra chart. The indicator is exactly the same, Gomicator, and all the same settings. What I've done extra over here is I have gone into the settings, and I have also activated the max delta and the min delta. So this is something exactly same what you see it on Ninja Trader also. Maybe we'll discuss it in the next session. And I've added delta, min, max as well. So what it does is it gives us these values that you see extra over what we were discussing, is that max delta and min delta values are also being plotted for the sake of explanation. And what I have on the right side, the chart right to this is a PE chart. This is again a 5-second bar like we discussed in the previous videos. This is a volume profile for the 5 minutes. Okay, and this is the price that is moving, nothing too fancy. This is just a plain candlestick chart or OHLC chart with volume profile. And over here what I've done is I plotted the delta in, not in the cumulative mode, but basic candlestick form, so that we can know the highs and the lows. So this is a 5-second bar. So for every 5 seconds this delta is being plotted. Why I've done that is so for a span of 5 minutes, let's say from this moment till this end, we can see the max delta is somewhere close to 2000 over here. In this chart as well, I have divided it by 1000. You can see the values exactly similar to what you are seeing over there on Ninja Trader. There's nothing different. The indicator is exactly the same, just that it is a little more convenient in replaying the mode. Now we play the chart. This is 9:45 from the 10th of from the 30th of August. So I'll show you something and you can start from anywhere. Now let me pause this. Okay, you've seen what has happened is this is the PE chart. If you look at the extreme right, the market has started taking a pullback from the highs. Okay, and we've seen this on the PE chart. Now what we see over here is I will just go over here. What we see over here is that in the opening bar I saw a cluster and a POC, these guys getting trapped, and till now we have not been able to take out this whole section. Okay, and so what I'm expecting is I will try and see and when the bar opens, you can see the max delta is 326 and the delta finish is 44. You can see this delta value over here. The delta finish is somewhere minus 44, so it is not that high a figure. You can also compare it with the min delta values and the max delta values. So the bar has just opened, but I don't see any sort of selling coming from the top. Now we'll just play the bar and keep seeing what happens. Okay, so these two numbers are the value number of imbalances. So you see now it's 0, and the moment you see some selling, some sellers coming, you can see these numbers coming in -1. So I can see, and now I can see a sell imbalance as well. So I can see there is some sort of this is a predefined zone for me. So I have not started looking exactly at this point. This I have decided because this is the zone where I was planning to take a short, or I was expecting the market to hold. If you look at the plain candlestick chart also, so this gives you a precise entry. So what I would like to do over here is take an entry close to 467.68, where I was seeing if the bar comes again, the numbers are still positive. So I want to start seeing negative numbers when the bar approaches, or when some sort of selling comes in. So till now, if you can see, there is only 0 or positive. So I will wait till such time there is a negative number that starts popping up. Okay, and let's see what happens. So there is still some buying. I can't see. Okay, now you see there is a sell imbalance and the bar has already gone below. Let's see what happens. We'll wait, and let me delete everything. Okay, so I'm seeing these clusters form, and from the time it made a new high, we can still see positive, and you can see over here now it is being calculated from the low. So it is I mean, this is moved in the opposite direction. So what we should have actually done is taken a short somewhere here, 64, because we saw some negative values being plotted over there at the time, about 134 at this area, and we should have entered somewhere close to 164, or rather 464. Now you can see these numbers, these are not high. So now where do we cover up? We actually expect the market till this VWAP, which has happened. Now when we want to look at going long, okay, so you see these numbers 235, the bar delta is negative. We wait and we look for an opportunity on the opposite side, since we missed the one on the upside. So this is an area where we can expect some sort of resistance taking place. Now you can see the delta is really negative. The max delta is -1651. Okay, and that's a high number, but still from the lows we can see, if we see a good number, let's say anything above 300, 400 over here, in this zone is where we start looking at going for a long. And since we are going to buy options, let me play that again. So since we are going to buy an option, what we have to do is be very careful of our stop losses. Okay, so our stop loss would be anything not more than 10 to 15 points. Okay, and we look to go somewhere near this VWAP area, so somewhere here. Okay, let's see, it's still 0, so we want to see some number pick up over here. So I will explain it to you how wonderfully it works. As soon as I see, you can see these sellers getting trapped, and again a pop at 441. I will place an order over here at somewhere close to 441, and my stop loss would be just below this 431, 10 to 11 points. And of course first targets becomes 454 or sorts. I can see these sellers getting trapped here. You can see them, these sellers. Okay, so this is the point, somewhere close to 441 to 444 is where I would like to have entered. Again, we missed it, but you get the sense. We're explaining along with doing it. So obviously on options you need to be faster. Let's see if we get an opportunity again somewhere there. But what is happening here is, if you see live on the chart, or rather in the replay mode, a lot of sellers are getting trapped in this season. This is all sellers, and look at this number now. It has gone to 623. So from the time it made a new low, that is, the delta was -2202. From there you have seen this number come 484, 442. So this is how you can use this delta finish concept. Let me play that again, and let me delete everything. Let us increase the speed a little bit so that we can move ahead faster and see what happens. So if we get an entry somewhere close to 441, 445, we would have entered over here. I've just increased the speed to see where we can, if we could have got 15, at least 1:5. So you can see, you get your, if you would have entered at 14, you would have got 13, 14, already got 13, 14 points. Look at this bar. We'll slow it down when it comes to a good point for us. Okay, so let's go over here. and you can see the number over here, it is suddenly higher than what it was. Okay, you can see this is an imbalance. You can see this number 3, this is a reverse imbalance, which we'll discuss in some time, and we are exactly again at that same area. Okay, this one, and let's look at the numbers again. If we can get an entry over here, and this is the zone where we're expecting the market to take a sort of a pause, this zone that we spoke about, this zone, and you can see the number of delta imbalances that are coming in. So if these guys get trapped, so the idea is to see this. Okay, so now is the time to start going and thinking of a long look at these delta sellers getting trapped. So anywhere in this region is where we would like to enter. Okay, with a 12-point stop loss, maybe. Let's, okay, so this is the place somewhere we would like to enter, and the stop loss would be right below this. Okay, now let's increase the speed. Okay, so it was somewhere close to 36, 37. We have already achieved our 10 points. This is 15 points. You can see how it happens. So the movement, and you've got your 20 points against 10, 12 points. So you've got your 1:2. This is exactly the point we were waiting, and we saw the number of trap traders, and you get out when you see achieve your points, because Bank Nifty on days like this, we can see it is very volatile. It moves from one direction. Look at these bars, one down, one up, one down, one up. So you have to be very, very fast in markets like this, because it is not a trending market. So what happens is you get your precise entries at these points. Okay, now this delta finish number has also started coming down. Okay, and if you look at the the last time bar made a new high, it's also negative. So the max delta is also negative, and the min delta is also negative. So we've got a lot of sellers trying to take the market up, rather, because this is a P-in option, and a lot of them are going to get trapped if we move anyway. If we don't go below this and we move above this bar 454, a lot of them are going to get trapped, and this thing is going to pop up on the other side. So you can see it live on an options or an order flow chart, what is happening along with this delta finish number that we have. Okay, so we already planned to take one trade, and we've popped out, and we can see these very high numbers. Okay, again you can see this still unable to take this particular thing down. Okay, so this is a very, very good entry point. Or even if you lose over here, this is a very valid entry at 427, because this is somewhere where we've been waiting for. We've already taken one trade, and we're again look at this number 373, 477. Again, there is some sort of buying coming in from this place. Okay, and I can see these sellers get trapped. Let's increase and see what happens next, because I would have certainly entered at this point, looking at what is happening over here, somewhere close to 433, 34. And let's see, even if our stop loss hits, it isn't a matter of concern. So the stop loss would have been somewhere, I think it would have hit 11, 12 points, but I would have again looked to re-enter if it crosses somewhere this above 32 and sustains there. So this is again somewhere I would have looked to enter 32, 34 if the bar closes down and gives me an entry point. And you can see these numbers. This is negative now, of course, because the bar made a new high, and you can see all these sellers are going to get trapped, and over here. So this is what I was telling. Even if you get your stop loss hit, this is a very, very good entry point and valid point. Look at that. So from this point, you've got 20 points again, and the market has been doing this up down all throughout. So even if the small stop losses hit, it shouldn't matter, because one trade is going to make up everything. So if you would have re-entered when we were speaking, you would already made 20 points against the 10 points you lost because of this flick that happened. You can see how wonderfully, and we could see this happening in literally you see these setups play out again and again in all sorts of conditions. See that? And now I will just take a pause, and we'll finish the video. But you can see all this happening live if you play it out. And like we spoke, if it breaks this zone, okay, we are going to see a big flush down. So if in cases like this, you can get aggressive, because you're seeing a lot of sellers or rather buyers getting trapped here, and a lot of sellers getting trapped here. Okay, so we'll continue with this series in the upcoming sessions. So hopefully you guys could understand and learn something new. Until next time, thank you. Bye bye.